One of those culture-defining live events, that's WWE. It's got a lot of people excited. We'll get to that in a minute, but I want to get your take on this quarter. Did it change your rating or your price target for this company?
So we have a neutral rating on Netflix, and we'll keep it. It was a really good quarter, and the share price action makes sense. Netflix is a fascinating tension right now between what we know just happened and what might happen in the future.
Interesting. So a lot of people are talking about right now the subscriber growth. Obviously, incredible subscriber growth, far exceeding the estimates. I think a big question is, do you think it's sustainable going forward? One thing on the call that was mentioned quite a bit is that there's going to be industry consolidation and that, the industry itself is changing pretty dramatically.
The rate of change in long-form video is great. And Netflix has changed quickly over the last 2 years. They've been paid magnificently for their willingness to adapt. 18 months ago, this business slowed down badly. They launched their paid sharing initiative that's intervening with password sharing. They launched their advertising business, which they always said they wouldn't do. And the business accelerated from 6% growth in 2022 to over 12 or 13% growth in 2023. Again, massive praise to the management team for their willingness to adapt. The question is what happens next. And with the benefits of password sharing waning, this growth model is going to have to lean a lot harder on revenue per member, and that has a lot to do with advertising and pricing.
All right, so I do want to talk to you about the addition of WWE. Not sports, it's not live sports, but it is sports adjacent, and it is a live event. How meaningful is this for Netflix going forward, and does it tell you something about their plans in the future?
We argue that WWE is sufficiently sports for categorizing it that way. These are truly athletes. If you attend or watch one of these events, they're fantastic athletes, and while it's scripted, they're clearly executing very athletic feats. And so anyway, the more important point is that WWE acts like sports for a broadcaster. It is regular programming. It is live programming. It draws an audience of WWE in the U.S. draws an audience of about 2 million per episode. And so Netflix has accurately called it, sports entertainment, and that this is adjacent to things they've already done. We think this decision to air or to license WWE for a big number, $5 billion over 10 years, is reminiscent of their slow walk towards advertising, which is something they said they wouldn't do as recently as 2 years ago, and then gradually socialized and then launched aggressively. We think that Netflix will become a bigger player in sports.
All right, one other thing I want to talk to you about, it touches on subscriber growth. In the shareholder letter, the executive said they expect consolidation, but Netflix is not looking to acquire linear assets. They really went out their way to say that. What's your interpretation? And again, I want to come back to subscriber growth, consolidation, and the fact that they aren't looking to acquire linear assets. Give us your interpretation of all that.
Well, it's well reflected in the business press that Paramount has to do a deal, or certainly is very motivated to do a deal. And so I think Netflix was speaking to its investors and assuring them that they wouldn't be Sherry Redstone's path forward, which is not shocking. Netflix has never made a large acquisition, and their relative competitive position has hardly ever been better in their history. And so it's hard to imagine why they would suddenly pivot now, other than having a very high share price. More broadly, we do expect the industry to consolidate, but Netflix doesn't necessarily need to chase it. They're very well funded. They don't have to do anything reactive.